Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to Mikasa Sukasa, and I am your host, Nico House. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Like I said, if you did not catch my last podcast, which I urge you all to go do, talking about Bernie 2020 and how it is a little bit, well, actually a lot different than 2016. But I did not give you all a podcast yesterday, and so we are making up for it. We got two today, and both of them are equally as important, so I definitely encourage you all to listen to the Bernie 2020 podcast if you have not listened to it. It is very informative as well. I also want to give a special thanks to our sponsors, the Credit Surgeons, of course. If you're looking to have your credit repaired so that you can buy that house, that car, take care of your family, get that loan, you go to thecreditsurgeons.com. They'll make sure that you can get that taken care of, not 3 years from now, but as soon as humanly possible. They care about your credit as much as you do. So make sure you check them out, thecreditsurgeons.com. Now that we got that out of the way, I also wanted to ask you all a question. Why is it that we have to investigate the FBI, who is the Federal Bureau of Investigation? And it's not like a little bit, right? Maybe every now and then you have one bad apple or two bad apples. But it seems like at this very moment, the FBI is absolutely full of corruption. Let me give you a brief example. Some of you I don't know if you've been paying attention, because, CNN has a really good habit, and MSNBC, they have good habits of leaving out important tidbits of information, like the fact that the people who originally lost 5 months worth of text messages were talking about the FBI's quote unquote secret society that was formed right after Donald Trump got elected. Now, whether or not they were being serious or if this was merely in jest is kind of irrelevant, because even in jest, when people tell a joke, it's mostly true, even if it is a joke, right? That's what makes jokes funny sometimes. But this isn't a funny one, though. But if they are being dead serious, which evidence is showing that it's probably closer to that, this is hugely problematic, because it looks like they literally went out of their way to try and discredit and implicate Donald Trump in Russian hacking that never happened, merely to get the candidate they wanted elected. And that is a huge problem. I mean, the FBI already has its share of issues, right? Andrew McCabe, the Democratic Party, and even Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton themselves helping to bolster his wife's candidacy in Virginia. You have Robert Mueller, who used to work with right above, actually, James Comey. And James Comey was fired by Donald Trump. Obviously, that's a conflict of interest because he didn't trust James Comey. James Comey and Robert Mueller were very close. So your logic at that point is, okay, let's appoint Robert Mueller, because obviously he'll be much more trustworthy than James Comey. Yeah, clearly, as he's been dealing with this Paul Manafort case, which it was literally just blackmail, clearly, it's that he's going to do a good job of being objective. I know it's hard to hear the sarcasm in my voice, but I promise you I'm being sarcastic. So, on top of that, you have the CrowdStrike CEO who used to work for work with James Comey and work under Robert Mueller. I mean, the conflict of interest is literally as long as the yellow brick road, and nobody really wants to address it. I think I'm the only one who's really made an extensive video on how deep the conflict of interest in the FBI in regards to the Russian investigation go. I mean, even with James Comey, the man, it has ties to the Clinton Foundation. Like, it's not good. How can we trust the Federal Bureau of Investigation to investigate objectively when they are all seemingly related to each other, and whether it be professionally or in this particular case that I didn't even know about until just very recently, romantically. So many of you all are familiar with the fact that two senior FBI officials were involved in exchanging text messages, and 5 months worth of text messages just went magically missing. It's crazy how that works, right? The FBI couldn't find 5 months worth of of text messages involving some pretty incriminating stuff. It's crazy because remember they couldn't find Hillary Clinton's emails at first either, and then the NSA was like, I mean, we have those. Like, all you had to do was ask us. We could have given them to you. They never even tried to ask the NSA for those emails. So that's the type of organization we're dealing with. It's either they're grossly incompetent or they're purposely deceiving us. And I am obviously leaning more towards the latter than the former. But here's where it gets more interesting. I want to read to you a little bit from this Daily Mail article, because it's covering an aspect of this entire investigation that many of us were unaware of. And here's the title. Married FBI lawyer. Yeah, you heard me. Didn't know that was part of the story. Married FBI lawyer exchanged 10,000 texts with her anti-Trump agent lover, who was a key player in Mueller's Russia probe and helped clear Hillary Clinton for the first time. Yeah, I did not know that there was a love triangle going on here. So Lisa Page, who exchanged anti-Trump text messages with Peter Strzok, her FBI agent lover, was seen for the first time since the affair was exposed. Strzok was dismissed from Robert Mueller's Russia probe over the conversation and was relocated within the FBI over the summer. Page, a lawyer, was also involved in Mueller's investigation, but left the probe before the messages were discovered. You see, so already off the bat, huge conflict of interest. Off the bat. Page, 38, is married to a nonprofit executive. Yeah, like I said, crazy love triangle. Married to a nonprofit executive, Joseph Burrow, who was seen wearing his wedding ring on Wednesday morning. Kind of like a weird thing to mention, but whatever. Strzok was a part of the former FBI Director James Comey Hillary Clinton email probe and changed the wording in Comey's assessment from grossly negligent to extremely careless. He was also involved in questioning Michael Flynn before he was prosecuted for lying to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And the DOJ said they'll be handing over the messages to Congress. It is currently going through more than 10,000 messages between the couple that span several months. But we need to take a trip back up about 3 bullet points, because this is very problematic. Strzok, because some people are like, oh, maybe the secret society, they were joking about that. Oh, except for, like I said, Strzok was part of James Comey's Hillary Clinton email probe, and he was the one, and I did a video about this as well, but he was the one who changed the wording from grossly negligent to extremely careless. Why? Because negligent, believe it or not, is punishable. Actually, almost everything that Hillary Clinton did was punishable. Let's be clear about that. Right? And just for those of you who are paying attention, I know that Hillary Clinton set the bar pretty low for things that are pretty high, really, I guess I should say, for things that are punishable under state or federal law. But please don't take after her example. It doesn't matter whether you had intent on committing a crime or not. You will still be prosecuted. Just a word from the wise. Like if you get pulled over and you're doing 185 miles down the highway and the cop says license and registration and they give you a ticket and revoke your license, do not go to the court with the defense of, I had no intention on breaking the law. I closed my eyes, I just stopped paying attention to the speedometer. I put my foot on the gas and I just let the car fly. But I didn't intend to break the law by going 185 miles per hour. I just intended to go fast. Those are two different things. If you do that, not only will you go to jail, probably, and keep your license revoked, but you're probably going to be held in contempt of court because the judge is going to think you're trying to make a buffoon of him or her. So I'm telling you now, do not ever use that as a legitimate defense for any reason whatsoever. It doesn't matter whether you had intentions on breaking a crime or not, unless the cop himself or herself is being nice that day and decides not to write you the ticket or arrest you. But the intent doesn't matter, people. Trust me on that one. So anyway, but this guy was responsible for changing wording in the Hillary Clinton investigation, which means that essentially, which kind of got exposed already, it means that the FBI was on Clinton's side, at least a few members. If not for any other reason besides the fact that she was a Democrat, they were attempting to keep their jobs because, one, they probably wanted to help her, but two, they wanted higher positions in the FBI. What's the quickest way to get a higher position in the FBI? To do whatever the upcoming president tells you to do. It's called crony capitalism, crony politics, cronyism. Call it whatever you want, but that's what they do. So, we know for a fact, mind you, there was another situation where words got changed up with the former Department of Justice. Oh man, I can't remember her name. Y'all know exactly who I'm talking about. I don't know why I just had a brain fart, but you know who I'm talking about. Give me 5 seconds. I'm gonna find her name out right now. Loretta Lynch. Goodness gracious. Y'all look. Y'all know I suck with names. We've already had this conversation. But Loretta Lynch actually turned the wording in the Hillary Clinton email scandal from what was it? They said that it wasn't an investigation, that it was just a matter. But indeed it was an investigation. And then on the other side of that fence, they tried to pretend that Trump's matter was an investigation, but it wasn't. It was a matter. What Trump is actually being technically investigated on right now is not a Russia probe. I know people keep calling it that, and it's actually a misnomer. He's actually being investigated because of James Comey being fired, which I know it sounds like crazy, but the nuance is important. That's why he's being questioned about James Comey's firing. He just said he's going to go under oath. People are so mad about that. It also came out that they were like, Trump was going to fire Mueller, and people were like, oh, gasp. Trump was going to fire one of James Comey's friends who's trying to investigate him and frame him for something he didn't do? I can't believe it. I'd fire his ass too. Apparently some people stepped in and were like, we can't allow you to do that because it's going to look bad, and we'll leave if you do that, which is probably the right thing to do. He should just let it ride out. And if he's innocent, he's innocent. He can't just get impeached. It takes a lot to impeach somebody. And a lot of Republicans enjoy their public office and do not want to antagonize the tsunami that is MAGA conservatives, the Trump people. So, but anyway, so this is just another recent event in a cataclysmic manifestation of events over the last couple of weeks, including the reopening of the Clinton email investigation, including the opening of the Clinton Foundation investigation. Now, I don't know if many of you are familiar with this one, but the FBI of Little Rock is essentially investigating Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton over the Clinton Foundation. And once again, we saw corruption even in that investigation because it came out. And this wasn't in some conservative article or even an independent article. This was actually in the Washington Post, where it was discovered that higher ups and the FBI were attempting to obstruct the investigation into the Clinton Foundation in Little Rock. And it also came out that the current Department of Justice was trying to also obstruct the investigation of the Clinton Foundation. So you can see like there's this internal battle, which Dick Morris, who used to work for the Clintons, highlighted this internal battle. Wow. I guess at this point it'll be over a year ago, well over a year ago. He said that in the CIA and the FBI, there were people who were trying to stop the Clinton cabal from happening. Clearly, the ones who are investigating the Clinton Foundation in Little Rock are part of that that sect of the intelligence community. But yeah, it was said by Dick Moore. It's been said time and time again, actually, by several people who used to work within the intelligence community, who used to work in politics. Said, yeah, there's like a war within the intelligence community right now, and I think that now it is clear more than ever that there is a war. When FBI agents are coming out and openly saying, yeah, the FBI higher-ups tried to obstruct our investigation into the Clintons. Why else would you do that unless you were trying to do what? Protect the Clintons. I know. Can you believe it? So they found these 5,000 text messages, right? And they're supposed to be going through them. Not 5,000. 5 months worth of text messages that apparently were 10,000 in total, or roughly 10,000 in total over the span of 5 months, which is actually kind of peculiar because in 5 months, I feel like you send a lot more texts, but they were around each other a lot. So I guess that's why they didn't have to text that much. But it's interesting to me that someone who is responsible for tampering with in trying to mitigate the circumstances surrounding the Hillary Clinton investigation would be in charge or even a part of the Robert Mueller probe, considering, and I'm sure, no, they have no excuse, because James Comey, they even went out of their way to report that James Comey briefed Robert Mueller on everything that was going down. Everything, right? All the people involved, all that good stuff. And so Robert Mueller clearly knew what Peter Strzok had done and included him in that investigation, and in my opinion, with clear intent to try and bring someone who was anti-Trump, who was pro-Clinton, who was pro-establishment, pro-FBI Clinton cabal, to try and obstruct the investigation and coerce it, just corrupt it. It's disgusting, man. I'm tired. Like, damn, we already can't trust the police. We can't trust judges because they're out here trying to get fines for their districts. They can't. There's so many places where their local justice department is like solely responsible for the entire economy in the area. Look in the South, that's pretty much the case. So you got that. You can't trust the judges. Can't trust the police. Can't trust the president, can't trust Secretary of State. You can't trust now the Justice Department in either administration, because Trump almost had to fire. He almost had to fire Jeff Sessions. Remember? Because he wasn't doing his job in regards to the Clinton investigation. So he almost fired him for that shit. So on top of all that, can't trust the FBI, can't trust CIA. We already knew we couldn't trust CIA, but we thought we could at least trust the FBI a little bit, right? All the glowing and warm reviews that the Democrats tried to give of James Comey, even the Republicans before used to give him glowing reviews. I guess that's when he was objective. But clearly he's not objective anymore. When are we going? I mean, we need to do a total overhaul. Total overhaul, fresh faces with a few faces that you can trust, with a proven history of objectivity. I hope the next president, whoever that may be, will come in and just totally overhaul the Department of Justice, will totally overhaul the FBI, I really want them to disband the CIA, seriously. That's a different conversation for a different day, but the CIA is not on the side of the American people. They are on the side of the military-industrial complex and the New World Order and the deep state. That is their whole objective. So, I just really want to see, I see justice served. And it looks like I told y'all, I said 2018 is going to be a good year for progressives, and it's going to be a good year for anyone who has been a little worried about the stability of our democracy and the stability of our justice system at the federal level, and, you know, whether or not we're going to be able to hold our political elite and our oligarchy accountable. And it's looking that at least we're going to be able to hold the political elite accountable. It's taken a little time, granted, but these things do take time. But I'm excited. I'm pissed, but my excitement comes from that anger, because I've been pissed. I've been pissed for 3 years now, and I've been waiting patiently. And it looks like finally, the truth is coming out. These text messages are going to reveal a lot, and they look like they're not trying to let them get away with anything. Like I said, the Senate Judiciary Committee could have pretended that they couldn't find those messages. They could have let things slide. Now, the only thing, but they didn't. They didn't do that. They found them within days. So that's good. That's some good news for us. The only thing that would make my day all the better would be if that memo, that FISA memo, got released. But that is a different conversation for a different day. In the meantime, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of MCSE Politics. Make sure that you go and listen to the Burning 2020 podcast if you have not yet. And always remember, ladies and gentlemen, find your balance. Peace.